I'm Kate, that's Jamie, and this is Two Dumb Bees.
Join us as we navigate the realms of the supernatural and unravel the quirks of pop culture.
Come scroll with us. Okay, so we are going to start by talking, I guess I should trigger warning every episode. If you're listening to us ever, trigger warning.
It gets a little effed up in here.
Yeah, usually. So, we are going to talk about Matthew Perry first. His death and the people being accused and charged in his death. Now, Matthew Perry's death has been widely speculated. Strange circumstances in Perry's relatively young age, there were a lot of questions. Perry had been pretty open about his addictions, though, so that was always kind of a speculation. 5 people have been charged in Matthew Perry's ketamine death. The Friends actor died in a hot tub at his home on October 28th due to the acute effects of ketamine, which caused him to pass out and drown, according to medical examiner's records. While the report said ketamine was the cause of death and that drowning was a contributing factor, it did not say that ketamine caused a heart attack or respiratory depression. 2 toxicologists previously told Vice News it's likely Perry would have survived had he not been in a body of water. The amount of ketamine...
basically it just made him like unconscious to where his body didn't like realize that he was drowning. Like he couldn't wake himself up.
Correct. The amount of ketamine Perry had in his system when he died is consistent with the amount used for general anesthesia. So,
and ketamine is like a freaking horse tranquilizer, is it not?
Yeah, it's used for other stuff too, but traditionally, it's used for like anesthetic. Ketamine has seen a huge surge in the U.S. in recent years as a treatment for depression, anxiety, and pain. I see YouTubers doing ads for at-home ketamine therapy treatments and other ads promoting things like that. Have you seen that?
I have not, but that's concerning.
Mm-hmm. I definitely have. I mean, some people swear that ketamine has changed their whole life and everything, and there really isn't. Like, if you look at it statistically, not a whole lot of people are dying. I think it said about 30 people a year die from ketamine overdose.
Perry already had substance abuse issues.
Right. Perry dying because of ketamine and because of where some of his ketamine was coming from really like shook up this like ketamine industry that's going on right now, especially in California. A Vice article, Matthew Perry's death and wake up call for ketamine industry. Ketamine practitioners are developing new guidelines surrounding using the drug at home in the wake of actor Matthew Perry's death. Okay, so the ketamine industry, again, especially in California, is now they're having to look more at what their rules and regulations are, because obviously this is a big deal and it doesn't look very good for them. We'll get into like kind of who gave him the ketamine. But during the pandemic, relaxed regulations allowed doctors to prescribe medications remotely, which led to a boom in companies offering oral or intranasal ketamine following telehealth consultations.
You know, I have a friend who is prescribed Adderall. And said friend has not had an in-person appointment since COVID.
Yeah.
And that's like... Adderall has a high potential to be abused. We'll say that.
Right.
And I don't think that they should be allowed to prescribe stuff like that without having in-person visits. Are you not supposed to be like drug testing these patients, making sure they've got like the right levels of,
or do more than just like a 30-minute consultation with someone before you decide, you know what? Yeah, totally. You can have an amphetamine. That's fine.
well, which this said friend had like a whole sleep study done, and
Right.
it
I mean, if
was
you
not
have the
initially
proper,
prescribed, but she hasn't been like, she hasn't had to come in and drop or anything
I
like
guess if
that.
you have the proper like medical history and you're able to produce those kinds of records, like that's one thing. But just basically slinging drugs,
But
I
right,
mean, that's
like
kind
this
of
is
what it is.
your initial visit, and it's telehealth, and they're just like prescribing drugs willy nilly. Didn't some of those? Because I know during COVID, I would see a lot of like virtual mental health places. You could get
Yeah.
yourself a virtual therapist, and they were prescribing stuff, and they got in a lot of trouble.
I think a lot of them aren't doing a lot of prescription stuff anymore at all. If I
Well,
remember correctly, I think a lot of it is just like talk help, like
yeah, probably for the
counseling.
best.
Yeah, I think so too.
I at the bare minimum, I don't think we should be prescribing stuff without at least one initial in person visit for the doctor to do like a workup or whatever.
Yeah, I think it needs to be more than just a couple conversations or whatever, real quick. In October, the FDA issued a warning about the use of at home ketamine products, noting potential safety concerns, including abuse and misuse, psychiatric events, increased in blood pressure, respiratory depression, and lower urinary tract and bladder symptoms. Home use of compounded ketamine products presents additional risk because on site mentoring by a healthcare provider is not available. So basically, like, if you end up having some kind of issue, like, there's no doctor there to help you.
Right.
Ketamine carries a lower addiction risk than other drugs like opiates and does not cause physical withdrawal symptoms, but it's still possible to use it problematically. I mean, you can use anything problematically. I think ketamine was more the underlying issue here for Perry, but really all these people around him who let him down and ultimately had no concern for his well-being are the problem. And we're going to get into that right now. The 5 people who are charged.
Well, and I saw a TikTok video that pertains, and they said that a lot of the ketamine he was getting was not through his doctors, which I will say I don't think the doctor should have been prescribing it to him regardless, but he was getting ketamine therapy at the doctor's office. He wanted his dosage upped, and the doctors wouldn't up the dosage, and that's when he started like outsourcing.
Well,
But like I said, that was a TikTok. I don't know if that's like super true.
I think they were probably giving him too much too.
Well, maybe that's why
Let
they wouldn't
me
up his dosage. Like, we're already giving you too much, guy.
Yeah. Yeah, if I remember correctly, like, he was getting plenty. It might be in here. Hold on. We'll read through all the fun court notes here. Per the New York Times. The actor Matthew Perry, who had long struggled with addiction, grew intrigued by ketamine a few years ago during a stay at a rehab facility in Switzerland, where he received daily infusions of the powerful anesthetic to ease pain and help with depression. According to federal court documents filed in California, Perry's assistant and an acquaintance collaborated with two doctors and a drug dealer to obtain thousands of dollars of ketamine for Perry, who had a long history with substance abuse. Two defendants, including a doctor and a woman named the Ketamine Queen, are being charged in the death of Perry. They're accused of being involved in selling drugs that led to the death of Perry. Meanwhile, three others, including another doctor and Perry's assistant, are working out plea deals related to federal drug charges linked to the situation. So
So who
multiple
is
doctors.
this ketamine queen? Is she just like some local drug dealer?
She's a doctor.
Okay.
The three others separately charged in the case, including Dr. Mark Chavez, 54, a licensed medical doctor who admitted in court documents to selling ketamine to Placencia. Eric Fleming, 54, who admitted in court documents that he distributed the ketamine that killed Perry, and Perry's live-in assistant, Kenneth, 59.
I feel like I'm most disappointed with the live-in assistant because I read that they had been close for a very long time, like has been his assistant for years and years.
Yeah, like 30
shame
years
on
or
you,
something.
sir.
Yeah. It's gross.
I would never let you do ketamine. I would be like, no, you don't need that.
That's very nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah,
Don't ask
because
me to get it. I wouldn't know where to anyway.
that's right. You heard it here first. Jamie cannot get you any ketamine. But no, they were like friends. He lived with him and was like, he knew, I mean, he was probably closer to him than really anybody else. How dare you?
Right. He trusted you.
Totally.
Misplaced trust.
The DOJ said, quote, these defendants took advantage of Mr. Perry's addiction issues to enrich themselves. Estrada said during a press briefing on Thursday, they knew what they were doing was risking great danger to Mr. Perry, but they did it anyway. And he's right. Quite
100%.
honestly, I feel like the actual real drug dealer is like the least guilty one here of all these people. All those doctors knew how much he was getting, and I had read that there had been an episode when doctors were administering it to him, and he had like a little kind of like episode, like a drop of blood pressure and stuff, which ketamine affects your heart and your blood pressure and everything, and they still kept giving it to him even though they knew, you know.
Right, like that's a warning sign right there that you're
It
doing
very
too much.
much, yeah, it reminds me of like the whole Michael Jackson thing too. They just like killed him. His doctor basically just killed him too for money. He's like, yeah, you want all these drugs? You can have these drugs. I'll probably take these drugs too. I bet that's what these people are doing too.
Well, I hope with the outcome of the trial that all of their doctoring licenses get revoked.
Hell yeah. And I hope they go to prison and rot because this is horrible. They knew he was an addict. He was very open about that. He had a book and everything. And for them
Well, you know,
to,
I have minimal faith in our justice system.
yeah, for good reason. It's sad. It makes
But
it
this is
sadder.
highly publicized and they're probably going to get in pretty big trouble.
As they should. Although I think, but the assistant is working out like a plea deal, which makes me mad. It's like, no.
I hate plea deals. I hate plea deals. I hate that that is a thing. I don't think that you should get to plead to lesser charges when you did the big charges.
Right, just because you admit it, you get less. That's not cool.
Right, like, I don't know. Good for you. Taking accountability for your actions will give you some free commissary for your full length stay. I don't know. Not a plea
Right.
deal.
We've got some more messed up stuff to talk about because that's really all we've been talking about.
That's really all that's happening. It's hard to find something positive. Anyway, have you ever been to Disney World?
I have once.
I have not ever. Was it a magical experience?
I was 10, so yeah.
Well, that was not the case for Jeffrey Piccolo.
No.
Or
Poor
his
Jeffrey.
wife. I cannot say her first name. I'm sorry. I tried to find it, like a pronunciation of it. I can't do it. So we're gonna call her Tang Swan. That is her last name.
Okay.
During their visit to Disney, they dined at a restaurant called Raglan Road Irish Pub, where Jeffrey's wife would later die from anaphylaxis.
Oh no.
So at the pub, Tang Swan repeatedly asked her waiter, and this was reported by the family after the fact. She repeatedly asked her waiter whether the vegan fritters, onion rings, scallops, and vegan shepherd's pie that she had ordered could be made without nuts and dairy, because she was severely allergic. The waiter confirmed her meal would be cooked without exposure to those foods. When the food arrived, she was concerned because usually when you dine at like a higher end restaurant, if your meal has been made, specialty due to an allergy, it will be flagged, have a little flag in it.
Right.
And this was not flagged. And so she again checked with the waiter to make sure, and the wait staff reassured her that there were no nuts or dairy.
I don't
Well,
want to interrupt you, but really quick, just from my own experiences, servers and other restaurant people, Jamie and I both worked in restaurants. When people say they are allergic, I know some people lie and are assholes, but it's things like this that when they're asking you a lot of questions or they're double checking or triple checking with you, this is why they don't want to die, quite honestly.
right. And I will say, for me, as someone that has not been allergic to anything pretty much my whole life other than ragweed and dust, it's hard to imagine someone eating a nut and dying. Okay, it is. But clearly, as we'll get to, because the medical examiner confirms this death, it is possible. So if you have tables that are adamant that their food needs to not have something in it, it needs to not have something in it. Okay?
And if you truly cannot accommodate it, just be honest.
Right. Don't
That's all.
potentially kill someone just to, sell a meal, I guess.
Totally.
Um,
Sorry about that. Had to go on a
but
little
yes,
tangent.
right. But she double, triple, quadruple checked with her waiter that this would be made dairy and nut free. Soon after the meal, she began having trouble breathing. She did use her EpiPen, but still collapsed inside the restaurant Planet Hollywood. I wasn't sure on logistics here, or like how they ended up at Planet Hollywood from Raglan Road.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
But I think they must have eaten at the pub and then they moseyed over here to see what they have. But she collapsed inside Planet Hollywood, and she later passed away at the hospital. And the medical examiner determined that she had been experiencing anaphylaxis due to elevated levels of nuts and dairy in her system.
And it had both? And she ordered from the vegan menu? That shouldn't have any milk anyway. I'd be suing.
Well, now we're there. So in February, Jeffrey filed a lawsuit against Disney and Raglan Road Irish Pub, alleging negligence. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
But here is the kicker. Because Jeffrey had signed up for a Disney Plus free trial in November of 2019, Disney claims he can't sue because of the arbitration agreement in the Disney Plus membership agreement.
My eyes could not roll further back in my head. That is asinine.
Yes.
Stop
the fine
it.
print for that account requires disputes to be resolved through arbitration, not the court system.
What?
They also say that Jeffrey had purchased tickets to Epcot last year through a Disney account, which has the same arbitration conditions as the streaming service. Jeffrey says that he was unaware of the conditions, and in any case does not believe they would legally apply to his wife's death.
No.
Which I tend to agree. Disney's attorneys originally said basically whether he read the terms and services agreement or not was irrelevant because he still signed it. So they were pushing to have the case dropped from the courts. Like, they wanted the judge to throw it out and make him settle this with them in arbitration. And I don't know if you guys know how arbitration works. I don't really know how it works, but I know that it is set up in the corporation's benefit and not in the plaintiff's benefit. And he's okay. In his wife's wrongful death suit, he's only asking for $50,000. And come on, Disney, that's like, you could probably pull that out of Walt Disney's crusty old couch.
Straight up. Just pay them. Whatever. You killed her.
Anyway, they flip-flopped real quick because of all of the public criticism they received on trying to
because it's crazy. You can't say that.
Like, come on. Which they say in a different statement that they're not really affiliated with the Raglan Road Irish Pub. The pub is privately owned and operated, and essentially the owners of that pub lease their spot in Disney. So Disney does not take ownership for the pub. They threw the pub under the bus.
Well, they probably should have just done that to begin with instead of doing this weird thing that they tried to fucking pull to, like, why did they do that? That was so weird. Right. Everybody's being weird. Making weird moves.
They said that they are merely defending themselves against the plaintiff's attempt to include them in the lawsuit. But they did flip-flop and they stopped trying to have the case thrown out, and they said that they will let the case proceed as normal.
Okay. We will see then.
We shall see. Which, I don't know. In my opinion, somebody needs to pay that man because y'all killed his wife.
We have one more story.
Is it death?
It's not death. So It's a little internet discourse, I guess. Okay. Now, I think everybody has heard demure and mindful. And for some people, it really rubs them the wrong way. I am not one of them people, personally. I think it's adorable. And I got the context. It did not elude me the irony within the joke here. But for others, they do not find it so cutesy. So let's get into it a little bit. The first video of Jools LeBron using the term has been viewed 3.9 million times. The second video she posted about being demure, cutesy, and mindful has more than 13.8 million views. Oh, by the way, most of this is from an NBC article. Now, as Jools continued posting videos with the terms, she continued racking up tens of millions of views. Demure means reserved or modest, according to Merriam-Webster. So let me give you an example here. This is from one of those first couple of videos. I don't look like a clown when I come to work. I don't do too much. I'm very mindful when I'm at work. LeBron has made it clear that her videos are obviously a joke, but that not everyone has picked up on the irony. She even added the original joke about not showing up to work with green glitter cut grease makeup was poking fun at something she herself did. A joke. And it blew up. So obviously she kept it rolling because duh.
Right.
Get your
And
bag.
I guess you either love it or you hate it, because I have seen like probably a ton of other videos doing their own cutesy demure shit.
Right. Everybody's got their own spin on it because it was funny. That's all. It was funny. It's TikTok, whatever. But
It's
when
a trend. I'm here for it. I love all the
Right,
little videos.
yeah, I think it's cute. Now, people all over the internet though are like raging out. And like if you look in the any comment section, which really you shouldn't do, but I cannot help it. I always want to see what like the general public is thinking. I love to just sit in a Facebook group and read comments or look on Reddit because I find it fascinating. If you look at comments, people are so upset that they're using the word demure wrong and like genuinely think that these people don't know what it means. It's like, no, like
But
you're
really, but really, and I got the definition pulled up right here, so we're gonna talk about it, because really she's not using it wrong. The
she
actual
isn't. No.
Oh,
But
so they're mad about all of the other ways
other
people are
people,
using it wrong.
yes, because they're
Okay, so the
using it
people that'll be like,
ironically.
look at my cat, see the way he pushes shit off of my shelf?
Very
Not,
demure, very
yeah.
mindful. And I just think it's really funny because, like, I'm like, you just don't get it, but why are you so mad about it? Because again, people are freaking out in comment sections. I hate this. This is ridiculous. It's not a new word. This
Okay,
word's
well,
been
you and your no
around.
sense of humor can step to the next video politely. Jesus. You know what? COVID did a little something to everybody. Not being able to go out in public for a whole year. People really forgot how to act.
Seriously, when I started seeing this stuff, I'm like, this is silly. But there is an article. There's a couple quotes in here by author Gresham Makito. The sarcasm and deliberate double standards of the joke has gotten lost. Gresham explains that the trend started off as being about the unseriousness of self-presentation. But since it has become bigger and then social media and society, it's being interpreted in a very literal way. Right. Like they're just that's such a fancy way of just saying they're missing the joke. Why did I even put that in here? It's literally what I just said. Noel Wolf, a cultural and linguistic expert, said the word demure dates back to the 1600s, and it was used a lot in the 1800s to describe young women and who were modest and reserved. The recontextualization of the word now shows how old language can take on a new life in the hands of younger generations. And yeah, that's also kind of what I was thinking about when I was looking into all that stuff, because this literally reminds me of, do you remember when they put bootylicious in the dictionary? Like, why are
Yeah, but I forgot.
Like, why are you guys being so serious about this? It's goofy. It's weird. It's like we as English speakers have always taken words and made them mean other stuff and use them in different contexts and evolve it. Like this is nothing new and it's just a silly internet trend, but
literally, for instance, Fergie took bootylicious and turned it into Fergalicious.
Fergalicious.
Nobody
See?
was mad then.
She can use this however way she wants. You guys are being weird.
You guys are choosing to use your free speech to be mean.
Haters.
What tools?
They're just jealous because she got a bag and they didn't, off of a silly TikTok video.
Right, because I aspire to have 3 million views on one of our videos.
Heck yeah. Yep.
I'd probably fall dead of a heart attack, honestly.
I mean, it's life-changing. So, good for her. I ain't mad at her. Do you have a fun fact for us?
I certainly do. From Switzerland, brought to you by Switzerland.
Perfect.
Switzerland prohibits the ownership of just one guinea pig. Since they are such social animals and they get lonely, it is considered animal abuse and cruelty to keep just one. So you got to have 2 or more. You have to have plural guinea pigs. And I love that.
That's so sweet. They must always have a little friend.
And I just really like Switzerland anyway, so.
I really like guinea pigs. They're cute. And I don't really like rodents, but I like guinea pigs.
They
look
stink.
like...
I mean, I guess anything stinks unless you clean its cage all the time. But they're not as bad as ferrets, I guess.
I just think they look like Beatles members if they were rodents. I like their hair. Like little Beatles wigs. I don't know.
You can give them little haircuts, really get them that bowl cut going.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yes, is that little... That's it. The little.
Do you know some of them have curly hair? They're curly.
No, stop. I've never seen a curly guinea pig. I shall. Hold on. I have to see. I need to know if it's
very
worth
cutesy.
It. Very demure. Stop it. That's so cute. Oh, some of them look crazy though. Some of them are adorable, and then some of them look like...
Yeah, some of them look homeless, right?
Or like a perm gone bad. Oof. Oh, this is making me want a guinea. Oh my gosh, this one has the Rachel. Ridiculous. I love it.
Well, they're like poodles. You can't let them get all scraggly looking.
All the haircuts. I can't stand it. This one has curlers in. Stop it.
I love it.
Okay, I think we can say goodbye now.
Okay, bye.